Happy May, everybody. I know we are halfway through May, so that's an odd thing to say at the beginning of seeing all your lovely faces, even though I cannot see your faces. But happy May. We are halfway through the month, which means we are nearing summertime, which is amazing. So yeah, welcome to this month's off-road masterclass. We are going to get started in just a couple of minutes, but a few things, housekeeping rules. Number one, your audio and video are turned off. So as much as I want to have a dialogue with you to be able to see all of your lovely faces, I cannot. So don't worry. But if you have any questions during today's masterclass, please drop them into the Q&A. There's a little icon with chat bubbles. It says Q&A. Drop the questions that you have during the class in the Q&A, where we have a dedicated team there to answer your burning questions. And then let us know where you are coming in from. So I'm gonna open up the chat just for a second, and I'm gonna see where y'all are coming in from and what rigs are you running. The chat is kind of lonely, so let's get it going. Blow it up. East Tennessee, what's up? Las Vegas. And let me know, is anyone who is here out of our 500 plus, anyone here going to attend Overland Expo down in Flagstaff? Let me know. We have some folks down there. I will not be able to join, unfortunately, but our team would love to say hi if you are there. We will get started in just 1 second. But again, welcome to May's Master Class. If you have any questions, if you are just joining us, please make sure to put those questions into the Q&A, and we will have a team answer those burning questions as we move along. Okay, for tonight, typically we have one or two folks on. You just have myself. So my name is Andy Zielinski. I am up here in North Idaho. I am the product marketing manager for onX Offroad, which means I have the privilege and the joy of working back with the product team to understand all of the fun features that they're building, tell all of the world about those fun features, and then make sure that everyone knows how to use those amazing features to be able to go further in their adventure. And then kind of I need to update my photo, but my rig of choice is a 1995 Toyota Land Cruiser, affectionately named Larry. Larry and I go back almost 13 years. I did have to put in a new rebuilt engine this past summer, so it's a little painful, but we made it through our rocky times with a lot more miles ahead. So again, if you're just joining us, drop in to the chat below. Where does you are joining from? And then any questions, put them into the Q&A. So what we got cooking tonight is we're gonna go over a general overview of the onX Offroad product. I am going to be using and sharing the desktop version, but if you have your mobile device, I would encourage you to open it up. If you have not downloaded the app, quickly go to the App Store, the Google Play Store, download it really quickly. I'm sure that most of you already have it though. Open it up, follow along. The features, while it might look a little different on my screen versus yours, all of the features are in parity with one another. So whatever you're seeing on my screen, you will be able to see on your phone. And then we're going to do some deep dives into some features. So we'll have a general overview, then we'll kind of put it all together to a real life application. And then if you stick around long enough, we have a fun giveaway that we will be announcing here shortly. So let me get out of here really quickly, and I am going to now blow this screen up. If you can see my screen, I have brought up the map. So again, if you are on your mobile device, it will look a little bit different, but for the sake of sharing, I'm choosing to do the desktop version. And so what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to kind of walk through several different core features to the off-road product, starting at this navigation bar here on my left. So as you can see, I'm trying to slowly hover and you can see my cursor on the screen. I promise I will go slow. But if you yell at me to go slower, remember, I can't hear you, so please be patient. But if you do have a question, throw that question into the Q&A. But I'm going to start over here at the Discover tab. So if you're on your phone, this bar is going to be along the bottom of the bar or bottom of the app. And you'll from left to right see Discover, Offline Maps, My Content, and then it switches a little bit. So don't get too hung up. It'll go from My Content to the tools and then Go and Track. So that's slightly different than how you're seeing it on my screen, but all the features are there regardless. So I'm going to actually, before I tap into a tool, I am going to zoom into my little neck of the woods. And as you can see, we have a lot of fun activities happening up here in North Idaho. And let's just pretend for the sake of storytelling that I'm new to this area and I'm just curious what kind of trails are available for my ride type, which again, my ride type is that Land Cruiser. So it's a full size 4x4. I am going to click on this little button, the Discover button, and it's going to pull up a whole bunch of trails within about a 10 to 20 mile radius, depending on how many trails are in that area. And it's going to be selected or filtered based off of some of the selections that I have previously built. So if we're curious about the selection, I'm going to go back over here. If you can see my mouse to activity, and I'm going to tap that really quickly because I want to show you guys right now, I have trails available for me to see and they're all the trails. But if I want to really start filtering out some of the noise, because I don't want to find myself on a single track or a side-by-side 50-inch trail, I'm going to simply toggle this one to high clearance 4x4 trails, which you can see dramatically changed my view in terms of how many trails are on the map. And this is a really, really great way to basically organize how you're viewing the map based off of the ride type you have, and then start planning out your adventure. So from here, let's go ahead and back out of the activity tab, back over to Discover, and now you can see that some of the trails are filtered for me to be able to now run this with my Land Cruiser. So I simply clicked on a trail, Moscow Lookout, a mountain lookout, and here there's going to be sort of a breakdown of what you're going to see and the different type of information that you're going to see within these trail cards. And so there's a general overview, which you can see here. We have the ability to add a trail report, which we are trying to get the off-road community to constantly be populating the trail reports, because especially as we are moving from the winter season, spring season into summertime, the trails are going to be changing. The conditions of the trails are going to be changing. This is a really great opportunity to let the off-road community know how that trail has been maintained, if it has, or if there's any sort of obstacle or something in the way. So let's go ahead and look at what a trail report consists of. So I'm going to click this button. It's going to open up the section where I can then submit the trail report. So I'm going to select the date. Let's just, for the sake of story today, I was out in the morning, and then I'm going to select my Land Cruiser, and then the trail status. So for the sake of the story, I'm going to assume that there was an obstruction. Let's just go ahead, click obstructed, and then the various prompts that are going to follow are to let the community know just a little bit more about the obstruction that you encountered. So what is obstructing the trail? Was it a washout? Was it deep snow? Was it a downed tree? We've had some wind up here and the weather's changing. So maybe it's a downed tree. Downed tree. How busy was the trail? Or like, was it just you, just me, whatever the case might be. And then depending, if you're anything like me, I am very I take a lot of photos. I've always got my phone with me, and I'm always snapping photos of the trail. One, just to remember along the way, but then two, especially for friends and family or other off-roaders in the community. If there's something on the trail that I want to share, I've got access to that. So we have the ability for you to add the photos of what the obstruction or condition of the trail looks like right here, and then the off-road community can kind of filter through like, okay, this is the condition of the trail. You can give a description. How many miles down the trail were you approximately? How big was the down tree? If you're carrying a chainsaw, will a chainsaw work to get through it? Need a winch, etc., etc. Drop your details there and then hit submit. Now, I'm not going to hit submit because I did not run this trail today and I don't want to put out a false report, but that's a good example of what it looks like to add a trail report to your favorite trails. And please make sure we've got almost 700 people attending this call tonight. I would love 700 trail reports by the end of the weekend. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Thank you. All right, we are going to discard that. And we're going to go back to this trail card to see what other kind of information might exist with this trail. I picked a pretty boring trail, it appears, but the, to the total distance, and this is random. This was not scripted. This is the trail I picked, so you're welcome. Anyway, it's a 3 mile trail. Difficulty status, it's easy. The difficulty rating, 2. So I would imagine this is a fire road at most. And then it will tell you the route type. So it's point to point, best times to go run the trail, who submitted this trail, not the trail report, but the trail information. And these are coming from our trail guides. A quick plug to how we are sourcing this data. We have government data that feeds into our base maps and all of the different layers within the map. And then we also have trail guides who are going out and running these trails because we know with every trail there's specific nuance that we want really particular feedback on, whether that's the difficulty rating, whether that's the condition of the trail, so on and so forth. So that's what our trail guides do on pretty much a daily basis across the US. And we have trail guides everywhere, upwards of, I think, 2,500 and counting trail guides. So we are constantly pumping new information into the data pipeline for these trails. The vehicles that are accessible to this trail, the trail description, and then as I was mentioning, these photos. This looks like a easy, simple, fun little trail to run. Probably something steep down tree. This would be a perfect example for a trail report. Down tree at mile post 7. I'm making it up. It's only a 3 mile trail, so mile 2.7 for those who are listening. Anyway, so backing up out of that, and you can see that it is rated easy. And one quick thing, I'm going to quickly, so follow with me. I'm going to quickly go back over here to this dirt activity tab. I'm going to tap on this because as you can see, this says it's an easy difficulty rating. There's something really important that I want to show you guys, and that is if you scroll down in this activity tab, you're going to see the map legend. And the map legend as you might imagine, is going to tell you information about the map. So as I had just mentioned, this Moscow trail is a green rated trail. And if I zoom out, let's just see if I can pull one up. I've got another green one up over here. I have some blue trails and I have some black trails, green trail up here, blue trail right there, Gloria Mine Trail. Okay. So you're seeing how the different colors are changing. Why this is important is because we recently made a change to the map and how you view the map. And for the longest time, almost 5 years, the trails were represented on the map sort of as a bowl of spaghetti. And while it's great to have all that information, what we heard from customers was they wanted to see at a glance how difficult the trails were. So we started to reorganize and re-display trail information based off of difficulty. So you will see the color coding system right here in the map legend, green being easy, blue being moderate, black being difficult, red being extreme, and then a little bit of some breakdown in terms of trail definition. So we are saying full width versus high clearance versus 60-inch. There's a breakdown of what that means and then what kind of vehicles would be accessible to those trails and trail sizes. And then a quick breakdown of how the map is displaying different land information, whether that's BLM, Forest Service, or private land. So I'm going to back out of there really quickly. I'm going to go back to the trail. Okay. And then let's go back down to that one was kind of boring. So let's not do that. Let's do Gurley Saddle. I believe this guy is going. Okay, here we go. So we're going to go down just a little bit more on the trail card, and then we're going to move on to the next feature. So you can see the difficulty rating. And then and this is really important to know as well, because the trail guides are running all different types of vehicles. And so the accessibility for this trail, you can see for the most part is going to be side by side, four-wheelers, ATVs, dirt bikes. And the trail guide had taken his dirt bike down this trail, and then his perspective for how he built out this trail description is coming from that he's using a dirt bike and then running down the trail to give you that kind of information. Now, if you are like, okay, well, cool, I'm glad I got that one trail, but I want to start linking up a few other trails to have a bigger, longer day out there, you can simply go back up to the top of the card and you can see that there is more to scroll through, whether that's nearby trails. So that's going to be the same thing if you were to back out of the card entirely to the Discover tab, but it's quickly going to show you all the different trails you have access to, and then weather. One last note on the trails is if you find a trail that you're interested in doing a little bit more exploration or coming back later and just running the trail, you can go up to that little ribbon right here that says save to my content. And I'm going to click on this, the Gurley Saddle, and I'm going to click on that. And that trail now has been saved into my content tab for me to access later as I'm planning out my adventure. So pause on the trail for 1 second. I am now going to move into the next feature. The next feature that I'm going to move over towards is the offline maps. Now, there may not be a more important tool or more important feature than that of offline maps. If you are like myself, I live in an area where it feels like within 10 minutes of leaving pavement, I am going to be quickly out of cell range, which means if I don't have any of my maps saved, any of that information or that data that I need while I'm going out to run the trail or have that adventure is not going to be there. And what I'm going to be left with is a pixelated mess of basically my app trying to render a view as it's losing data in service, which then ultimately serves me as no good because then I can't access the map or information on the map. So let's just say that I'm gonna run the girly saddle and then I want to have a picnic up at the end of the trail. I'm going to go over here to the tools. Now, if you're on your mobile device, that's going to be a couple tabs over at the bottom. I'm going to go to my tools. I'm going to select add a waypoint. And then I'm going to drag that waypoint right there. And then I'm going to assign the picnic icon to it. And I'm going to come back to waypoints in just 1 second. So don't worry, you're not going to miss anything. But I'm going to save this because now I have a trail and I have a destination I'm going to run. So let's go back to this section on the map. I've cleared out my view. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. And then I'm going to go back to the offline maps. And then you're going to see this tab where you can create a new offline map. So I'm gonna hit that button. Now this window comes up and you can move this window to fit the space that you really need to make sure sits within the offline map view or tile. And then you also have a few different satellite image resolution details that you can choose from. Generally speaking, I am always going to select the medium resolution because one, it does not take up a ton of data or room on my device, and it's enough of a space on the map that I can really pinch and zoom and get all of the detail that I need in specific areas, especially as the trail kind of meanders through the forest. I'm going to want to see some of those turns. So I'm going to simply save this, name it whatever you want. You can add a couple of notes if you want to add some notes. And then pay attention here really, really quickly. I am going to tap save, watch what it does. When I hit save, I'm going to get a notification telling me that that save was made and saved to my account. Okay, got it. Dismiss that notification. Now you are going to see this green box that is my offline map. As soon as I leave any zone down here or out east of me, and you can see I've made a few offline maps in this area because it is definitely a problem area where I need multiple maps, or I need the offline maps. And so that box is green, and what that is indicating is that that offline map is good to go. If you do not see green, chances are, if it's not green, but you've gone through the step of drawing out that map, the map tile over the specific area that you want to make sure that offline map exists, and it's not green, it's likely going to be red and white, a candy cane perimeter around your map. And what that means is it's in process of downloading and saving that map, but it has not fully completed that download yet. And so it's really important because green means you're good to go. If you are in a hurry and you are trying to build an offline map or several, please make sure that you're doing that where you have strong enough cell signal to make sure that it downloads, gives you that notification that you have it fully downloaded, saved to your file or your account, and then you see a green box. Because if you don't see a green box, assume that that map has not fully downloaded, and it will just render a pixelated mess when you're out there and when you need access to that information. So I'm going to move on from offline maps to the My Content tab. And a quick PSA, I am not checking the chat because I am focused on the screen. So if you have questions throughout, please, please, please pick those questions up and toss them over the fence to the Q&A section where we have teammates who can answer your questions. Okay, my content. So you saw the trails, you're looking at the map, you've saved offline maps. My content is it's your organizational system. So if you think about like the interaction or relationship with building out an adventure, there's a lot of information that you take in. There's a lot of plotting, a lot of planning, and without a decent system, it can be easy to get overwhelmed. So my content is your place within the app to kind of build out your adventures, to organize your thoughts in a way that makes sense to you, both now and in the future. And then if you want to share plans out, it's a simple way to share the plans out with your buddies. So within the My Content tab, if you are coming over from another product, another mapping software, and you have GPX or KML files that you want to bring over, you can simply tap the import button right here, and you can drag if they're stored on the computer. You can go to your Finder window. You can select multiple files and simply drag and drop, and then onX will begin to intake all of that information, so you don't have to lose all of that data that you have stored on another product. And so I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of that. And I'm going to show you a few things that you can do within the My Content section. So first, you can create folders, which is a super, it might be like a no duh statement, but folders are lifesavers. And so what I do every time that I'm about to plan a trip is the first thing I do is I'll create a folder. So I'm going to do May weekend with the pals. I'm going to save that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this trail, the Gurley Trail, and I want my buddy Mike to join me on this run and this picnic. And so I'm going to select the waypoint first. I'm going to let me back out of here. I'm kind of flying. I apologize. So I went from just to recap, created a folder. Now I'm going to start building out my plan. I'm going to come over here to the Gurley Trail. I've saved it already. And then I have a waypoint that I dropped for a picnic. I want to make sure that this pin is going to go into my folder. So I'm going to go down here, add to folder. Hopefully you're able to follow along okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that to folder. It's going to let me select which folder of the ones that I've created it should live in. Let's do May weekend with the pals. Waypoint was added to the folder. Now, if you scroll down, all of the extra content that you might have saved elsewhere, that just kind of randomly lives on your map, and no shame. I do that all the time. I mean, look at all the things that I've created, edited, deleted over the time. It all lives in your all content section. I'm going to simply go to my waypoints, picnic with Sassy. So I went out, took the family out for a little adventure, and we went Sasquatch hunting. And so this was one that we never found Sasquatch, believe it or not. But this is one where I want to make sure that I always go back and take the family maybe once a season. Let me back out of here, and then you can look at your tracks, the routes that you've created, waypoints, etc., etc. And then I'm gonna select a route. Well, let's go back to May weekend with the pals. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to create a route on this trail, and then I'm going to add it to that folder. So how I'm going to create that route is I'm going to go up here to the tools section, or if you're on your mobile device, It's going to be down at the lower bar. I'm going to click build route, and I'm going to start down here by the Forest Service Road. And as you can see, hopefully you're able to see that okay. There's a red line that is starting to trace. And I'm not doing anything. I'm not clicking on it. I'm simply just dragging my cursor up to this picnic waypoint, and it is the route builder is snapping to the trail in real time. I now added the second pin, so I now have a full section of the route built, and now I can save that route. So let's go ahead and name this Gurley Trail Route 1. I don't know. The total distance, 6.5 miles. Elevation gain and loss. I don't really care about that, but if you are someone who just needs to know how high up you're climbing or how deep you're descending, you have access to that information. The route color, which I think is important, especially if you are running a route and following the route with a mobile device. As you saw earlier, I have a 95 Land Cruiser. I don't have a fancy in-dash unit. I simply have my phone mounted to a mount, and I'm referencing onX Offroad as I am picking my way through the trail, but I'm referencing it on my phone. So it's not big. So the color of the route is important to me because I want to quickly know if I'm on a trail that does not have the route or if I'm on a trail that has the route that I built. So I'm gonna click red. Cool. It's dotted, so it's different, or dashed. So it's different visibility than the traditional trail. And I'm making the weight of it. You can change the weight, three different thicknesses. I'm gonna go with the wider weight simply so that is totally visible to me. And then down here, I'm gonna do this little hover thing right there. Add to folder. So I'm gonna click add, and then I'm gonna add May weekend with the pals. Okay, you got all that? So we just built a route. We are gonna save that route now. It's in a folder. Boom, we're ready to go. Now, let's just say that my buddy George, I don't even have a friend that's named George. Why that's the name that I thought of, I don't know. If you know someone that's named George, or if George, you are on this call, will you let us know in the chat? Just because. Okay, I'm gonna share this with George. And this folder share will go over to George as a view only. Sorry, I'm distracted. I need to check the chat. We got a George. Hey, George. George in LA. We got a couple Georges. All right, all right. George, this one is for you. So we're going to, I'm gonna back out of here, just do this one more time. I'm gonna click on share. That's gonna bring up this window. It has a clickable, copyable link. I'm gonna click and copy that link. Now I can send that over to you, George, with text, so SMS, email, and then what you can do, George, is you can take that folder and you will be able to see the routes that I made, the waypoints that I made, and I'm saying them in plural as if I have this whole robust plan. But all of that can be saved within this folder. I can share that with you, George, and then you can make a copy of that. And then if you want to add anything like fuel stops, a waypoint for a fuel stop, a waypoint for a lookout, or if you are planning a camp along the trip that the rest of the gang won't be at, and you want to kind of plot out your space, you can do that by creating areas with our area tool. And then your copied folder, George, is not going to mess up my master folder because you copied it and saved it to your personal device. So that way, if we have three or four buddies that are out running the trail with us and are doing this adventure with us, those master plans will not get messed up. Okay, I've covered a lot. I know time goes quickly when we're having fun. So I'm going to back out of here. I'm going to quickly go over to the My Garage. This is going to be different on the mobile device. If you're on mobile, go up to, sorry, it's just a pain to do different screen shares, especially as I'm rolling solo. So I'm not doing the multiple screen shares. But if you, do we get it? Do we get it? Do we get it? You can't see it. There we go. I got the blur on. So up there in the hamburger menu, if you tap that hamburger menu being those like three dashes up top, tap on that, that'll expand and you'll see a whole set of extra things to go play around in. But you will also see this little section called My Garage. And what you can do there is super fun. And I really encourage you guys to get in there, play around with it. But this is where you can add your vehicles to onX Offroad. If you have multiple rigs that you're running, or you're about to buy one and you're planning out a build, or whatever the case is, simply go in, add it. You can assign a vehicle type, so 4x4, the trail types that it has accessibility to, so high clearance 4x4 trails, surface types, etc., etc. And then what this will help you with is, number one, if you have any photos you want to add, you can go to edit, add as many photos as you want, details to your rig. But also, this might look familiar, this section right there. And that is because this is the same filtering tool that we have with our activity tab. So if you have a vehicle or multiple vehicles, so you have a full-size SUV or a full-size rig that you're running, truck, and you have a dirt bike and you want to quickly kind of toggle between single track view versus a double track, or a dirt road or trail that's accessible for 4x4, that's something you can now easily filter between because you've added those vehicles to my garage, your garage, not my garage. And if you want to give me a vehicle, you can give me a vehicle and put it in my garage too. I'd be down. And then like I said, if you are planning out doing any builds, something breaks, drop some notes into the more details section. And now here's a quick plug. I'm going to shift really quickly over to another section, and that is our Elite Pro deals. Okay, so I was just talking about if you are in the process of building out a new rig, something broke, whatever the case might be. And if you are an elite member with onX Offroad, you have access to exclusive deals with the industry's leading brands such as Decked, Rugged Radios, Warn. I am in the need. I'm going to be in the market for a new winch here soon. Roof Nest, Yukon. The list goes on and the list continues to grow. Anywhere from, I think it's like 8 to 25% off. Eight's a random number, but I think I've seen one that was like 8% off, but upwards of 25% off a purchase. So like one purchase of something from Warren could pay for your entire year's your entire year's membership of Elite. And so, yeah, really, really, really great opportunity for anyone who's thinking about kitting out their rig a little extra this off-road season. A couple last things I should note. So I did just talk about Elite Pro deals. I'm going to simply spend like 2 minutes on some features that only Elite members have access to. And so what I mean is we have three membership tiers. First membership tier is the free one. So it's like you download the app, you didn't want to commit, so it's just it is what it is. Cool. The second membership tier, which we call premium, that's $35 a year. You have access to most of what I just presented to you, but where it starts to change or deviate is with the elite. And so if you are an elite member, it's $100 a year As I said, you get upwards of 25% off some of the best brands in the industry. But you also have access to a couple very critical features. Number one is if you see right here, conveniently, there are these red boxes. I'm doing a lot of kind of hovering over this kind of section right here. These red boxes indicate private land data. So what I mean is, let's go to the activity tab right here. I'm going to tap on that, and then I'm going to scroll down to the map layers. I have private land turned on. If you're like, Andy, I don't see what you just saw, and you see this, I'm pointing as if you can see my screen. I know you can't, but let's just say what you see on your map are these green outlines or perimeters of what looks to be like boundaries, property boundaries. I don't know. And you're like, well, what is the private land data that you talk about, Andy? Well, if you're an elite member, boom, there you go. You have access now to the private land data. And as you can see, some of these roads are cutting through private land parcel. And this is super important because you might be planning a camping trip, you might simply be planning a day trip. And there's a lot of trails that will cut through private land. And if you're like, oh, this looks like a great flat spot to park the rig and camp for the night, you might want to check your map to make sure that you are on public land, that it is a place where you can indeed recreate. So elite members, you have access to the private land information, as well as now I'm going to go down to the corner of my map. So follow my cursor down here to the satellite base imagery button. I'm hovering. Okay, I'm gonna click on that real quickly. Boom, base maps come up, and you have access to 2D and 3D. And for the sake of time, I'm not gonna get into it, but I'm gonna click it real quickly because I love the 3D maps. I am playing on 3D maps almost exclusively. And you can get all of these different fun views as you kind of work your way around the map to see the terrain and the makeup of your adventure. But what I was gonna say, another feature that you have access to as an elite member is right down here. I'm gonna highlight what's called recent imagery. And what this is satellite imagery that is getting piped into our system and refreshing around two times, excuse me, every 2 weeks. And what this allows for a better view of what is happening both environmentally and then also what is happening on the trail. We are moving out of kind of what I would consider the shoulder season. And so the weather is a little less precarious, but let me get into a different view here. But up in North Idaho, we still have pockets or belts of snow. I am going to come down here to this little bar, right? This date range bar. And I'm gonna start going back so you can start to see the power of the recent satellite imagery. And then you're able to kind of map the weather trend data of like, all right, here's when and how much snow was around. I may or may not want my trip to include this section of trail because, well, it's still got a lot of snow up in this area and I don't want to deal with that. Or you might be one who's looking for that kind of adventure, and this might really suit you to be able to know how far up the trail you need to get before you start hitting snow line. So, recent satellite imagery, you might be thinking to yourself, well, Andy, like the resolution looks a little pixelated. And it is. That is simply due to the fact that we are trying to prioritize speed and frequency of data refreshes versus a picture perfect, pixel perfect resolution on the screen. At some point, That might change, but for now, every 2 weeks. We are at the 45-minute mark. You guys have done amazing. I'm going to quickly check into the chat. Okay, cool. Uh, we are at that time. We are at that time where it's going to be our giveaway. So let's quickly go over to the giveaway screen. Now, um, we just dropped a link into the chat. You've been here. Please, 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 please get in there. You do not need an account to be able to qualify for this giveaway. We're giving away 7 onX Offroad Build Challenge t-shirts. This is a fun project that we've been doing, second year running. We are super excited about it. Really, the premise is there are teams that are building out the most audacious rigs to go run trails. You fall in love with the story, you fall in love with the vehicle, and then you vote for who you think is going to win the build challenge, and we send them off on an epic adventure. You've stuck around this long, so please get in there. And then thanks for tuning in. We also, what's up, Dave from North Idaho? We're super excited that you're here. If you have any other questions, I know I went through a lot and there's a lot more I could continue to go through. But if you have any other questions, you can find us on YouTube. We have a whole bunch of educational content on YouTube. What's up, Annie in Texas? I'm just keeping an eye on the chat now as we're starting to wind down. Instagram, Snap, Facebook, we're all over the place. So please, please, please get in there, find us, follow us. I did see someone who said you would be interested in a more advanced class. People are not dropping off super quick right now. So you have 3 minutes, all of you. Yes, and this was recorded, and this will be on YouTube tomorrow, so you can go back and listen to my voice a ton. Um, but if you guys are still sticking around, 3 minutes, let us know, let me know if you want an more in-depth class, what topics do you want covered? Because there's a lot of topics rabbit holes we could go down. So I'm sticking around. I got 2 more minutes. What else do you got for me? And then the giveaway link, if you need it one more time, I'm going to drop it right there. Oh, we already got it. Boom. More on trail ratings. Okay, awesome. Custom route building. More in-depth class. Okay. Use and record. Okay, use and record a track. That one's tricky because as you can see, I am not in the vehicle and you kind of need to be in a vehicle to do that. But it's as simple as plugging in your device. You will go to the go and track down there. You can't see because it's blurry. But you go down there, boom, and then you load it up, and basically GPS is going to follow you until you hit stop recording the track. So yeah, route from home. Cool. I'm getting some good ideas. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great weekend ahead and amazing adventures. If you are going to be at Overland Expo in Flagstaff, say what's up to our gang there. And last plug, people are dropping like flies. We have a Memorial Day sale coming up. So if you know someone in your family or friend circle that would like onX Offroad, look for the sale code coming up here in the next little bit. All right. Until next time, be safe out there, keep going farther, and we'll see you on the trails. See ya. Thank you.